Today I want to talk about my favorite tips and techniques in watercolor portrait painting. First, talk about the tools. If you're serious about watercolor portrait painting, you need to pick a good watercolor paper. And the paper I'm using here is Arches. If you don't use Arches paper, at least you use 100% cotton watercolor paper. It's a block, it's ready to use. Second thing is the brushes. You need a large brush. The brush I use for large wash. This one is a gold here, and this one is sable here. It's also a very good flat brush. This one is a little softer, this one a little bit more stiff. And you also need a couple small brushes. And this one is a small size of calligraphy brush. And you also can use regular brushes, this is fine. And I also have another round brush, number 12, sable round brush. I also regularly use a brush, the round shape flat brush. It's synthetic here. You can see my material and tools by going into this website, enjoyingart.com. And then at the bottom of the page, you can see tools and materials. Click over there. You can see the links to learn the detailed information of the colors and the tools that I use. You can use any color palette. This one is plastic. I need to have enough space for me to mix colors. I mix from only the 3 primary colors. Winsor brand, so Winsor yellow, Winsor red, and pleasant blue or Winsor blue. Today I'm going to paint this boy, and today I use the paper horizontal. Before you start the painting, plan it in your head. You don't need to plan on the paper immediately. Just use my finger, draw it, and thinking about how big I want to draw the face and how much shoulder the clothing I'm going to include until you get a very good feeling of it. Some members ask me how you would know the painting is completed. Some people think if it looked like a photograph and that would be completed. That's just not. You need to have a good idea at the beginning what is your painting would look like. And this is the start from the first step. And when you have an idea how the painting look like, and then when you get all the relationship that you plan to develop, and then your painting is finished. So now I'm going to just use this small brush, use a light, very light color. Now I'm going to start put the mark on the paper. And this probably the chin. And if you want, you can just use the water to draw, and they will be fine. The water can dry in 3 to 4 minutes. Okay. And get your sense of feelings really active. So draw directly with the watercolor paints can free you from the detail. So you don't have to keep thinking about, oh, what's the detail look like? If you draw your graphite pencil with all the detail mark, keep reminding yourself and you keep thinking about, oh, where I'm going to get to the eye. And before you get the overall relationship, the composition finished, you should not think about where you are going into the details. Okay. Now I'm going to just quickly mark the location. If you use graphite pencil, you would use the regular eraser. To erase, I use the watercolor to draw, and the watercolor naturally be part of the painting. Okay. Now I get the ideas of how I'm going to place the main objects. So if you need to erase something, it just use the water. And if I want to soften something or totally remove it at this point, and it's very easy, just use the big brush and just to lift it up and let it go. But you don't really need to do it because this is the color really light on the paper. Later, when you have more and more darker colors, the color now would not be visible. This is not the tip. You need to double check. Don't rush on to the next step. And let me see. And if I need to include a hand, for example, include other things or something you put into the background, you have to make decision at this step. Make sure this step is solid. I think I like this already. I'm going to do a little more confirmation. Now I use the large brush. I always start from large brush. It would force me to looking at the bigger connection, bigger relationship. Very light, called base paint. Watercolor can become lighter after you dry. So you don't need to worry about, okay, maybe the color too dark, and it's probably just going to be perfect. And I know this color is not very dark. The big relationship is between the head, the face, and the scarf, and the leather jacket, and the background. Those is large color composition. Inside over here, between the shadow side and the light side, that's considered a little bit smaller relationship. The color in the iris, those are very, very small relationship. I don't painting those details right from the beginning. The whole feeling into the painting, it always starts from really large connection. I'm gonna put a little colors, and this color may change. I talk a lot about proportion. If you're already a member of Enjoying Art, go to the Enjoying Art Online Learning Center. There's a whole folder is called Portrait Drawing, Watercolor Portrait, Portrait Basics. And you can learn that step by step. So I get the idea over here, and think about how the angle and the shape were affecting the look. Now let's continue, have some base color for the scar over here. Look, and then think, and then paint. Always use your mind to think about it. And right now, just a little touch of the base color. Those color can be changed. If you decide to change, you can change it anytime through this painting process. At this step, I'm still thinking about how I may change the final look of the painting. If I decided to change the composition totally, I still can do that at this step. It's very easy. When you take color, you always take it from the side. Don't take it in the middle of their color well. Get a little blue. I only mix these three colors together to create the color that I need. Just think about the whole color. Think about the shoulder. Squint your eye is a very important technique. Always squinting to find the relationship. And on this side. You don't have to make everything looks finished. You can leave something look unfinished. That is just totally fine. Okay, I'm gonna soften that a little bit. I may not really want this arm coming over here. I also throw a little red color in this location. And this color would become pretty light after it dries. So no worry. Now I'm gonna go into the background. And what background I want, let's start playing with, do you wet the space before you paint, or you paint directly on the dry paper? Most of the time I paint on the dry paper, and that way I can control how much water do I need. Except sometimes I want the area that is very, very smooth, the water will transfer the color smoothly into the areas, and then I would probably wet the space first. And I consider this also wetting the space with color, not with water. And because after this step, I still can putting other color into it. Painting children's is always fun. It's very innocent. I'm gonna remove the bench. You don't have to include everything in your reference. I'm gonna continue onto the right hand side. It's important knowing when it's gonna painting. If you want to keep everything wet, you better to do that fast. And watercolor dry really quickly. So you need to know if you want to have the wet into wet technique. And that way you should have those things done before the paper getting dry. The other important tip for the watercolor painting is leave the white if there's a white space there. Now I'm gonna, if you wet the paper first before you paint, you need to know that on the papers already have lots of water. And maybe just become very, very light. And I'm gonna throw a little bit darker color. Looks like the season of the autumn with the orange color. The water will bring the color around. I'm gonna get a little blue color and maybe even purple color, a little bit darker. And also gonna get a little yellow-orange color. A little bit yellow color. I want to keep the background look soft, so would contrast the main object have more definitions. Try to finish the whole background when it is wet, if that possible. looking for your reference. Keep thinking, comparing. Now I need to let go the accumulate paint at the bottom. This is very important, or it would come back, have a called a background effect. It will have look like a flowers at the bottom. And my paper is about 10 degree, at least 5 degree tilted on the table. Force the water coming down. I'm looking at the shadow side and the light side inside the face. Now I'm gonna take a look. I'm gonna take this color. It's very close to the color I want in the shadow side. A little bit red color, and this. I only mix the 3 primary colors for any color I need. In that case, all the color over here, they are all only the 3 primary colors. So I'm gonna look at over here. I don't even need to look at the eye. We can lift up the color if we have to, but the color may be just not even dark enough for the eye in the shadow. Okay, take a look at that. Keep looking for the big connections. Okay, now this is the shadow side of the face, and I'm going to include the eye as a part of the shadow. Now looking at the nose, and this is proportion step. I'm looking for divide this from here to here, and this the nose a little bit off to the left side. Now I'm gonna coming down here, have a little bit more red in the light side. Now looking for this eye, the shadow side, so right in here. Just looking for that the whole space, the whole shapes, not looking for, oh, where's the eye? And then you skip the step already. So you need to looking for, there's the eye, there's the lower eyelid. But those are all belong to this whole shadow. Now I come into the nose here. And looking for the whole shape. Now looking at the mouth. But when you think about the mouth, you need to looking for what are the shapes in that area. So looking for the whole connection. Look at the shadow side and the light side. Okay. Now it's the chin over here. Now coming here, the lower part of the face, and on the cheek over here have a little bit shade connect to the mouth over here, and have a little shade coming down about the mouth. So I'm trying to create and suggest the form between the light side and the shadow side first. And the side of the face, and that's the ear. The ear have a little bit more red. So I'm gonna always compare warmer, cooler, and more red, more yellow, or more blue. Make your process much simpler and your minds much simpler. And now I'm gonna come back later to doing the adjustment. And now what I want to do, I'm gonna spend the time on the scarf. The scarf is red and the fluorescent blue. And I'm gonna start over here, right under the ear. maybe a little bit more blue. You feel free to change the color. You don't have to stick watercolor from the reference. That. And coming to on this side. Observe and analyze it, and then put it on the paper. And over here, I'm also add a little shadow shape. To me, is everything is shape. Okay, on this side, now I put the colors on the scarf and the shadow side of the face. That is the base. I will come back to do the lifting after it dries. Now I'm also going to put the colors a little bit better, foundation colors for the leather jacket. On this side, if you need to leave some white space, you can leave it at this process. Or if you think the light space a little bit soft, and you can use the lifting off technique to create it a little bit later. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna come to give a little suggestions for the head. It's a little bit more red. And add a little bit blue color to here, and looks about right. It's very easy to create a color if you have a very small selection of color to mix from. This is the base color for the head. I'm going to come back to do this very important step, that is a lifting off and balance. So first I'm going to see what areas I need to return it to be lighter. So over here, I'm going to just use this 1-inch goat hair flat brush, and I'm going to make this a little bit lighter. Now a little bit lighter, that would help. You don't want to use brush scratch onto the watercolor paper, and you only use the tip of the brush. Use the hair and use the here to lift it up. Okay. That's good. Now on this side, I'm going to lift up the color over here. And I think this is good. Now what I want to do, I'm going to come into start painting, fill in the little colors of the red over here. I'm going to put the red color, just directly pick the red from the palette. I have that color coming down here. That looks good. And over here, I'm going to put the red color over here too. Okay. I'm going to have a little bit darker. So I'm going to add a little blue color into here, like in the bottom over here. And also have a little darker color connect to the scarf. This is translucent watercolor. So whatever color that you put, either the color that you put later is a little bit lighter, still showing is going to be darker than the original color. Because just like a simple math, 1 + 1 = 2. I'm looking at the shape. When you're looking for information is, oh, I'm gonna paint the scarf. But the next thing, immediately, you want to think about how dark is that color over there. Change the shape a little bit. Change the light shape a little bit. Like that. Maybe a little blue color and just add to the scarf at the bottom over here. Can make it a little bit darker. And just a wet brush. And I'll come back a little bit later doing that. Now moving to the head. I'm going to use a little bigger brush for the head. A pretty big space. So I'm going to use, just take a look at that. Mix the red and the blue color. Let's see. The whole area here. Looking for bigger connection before you think about a smaller connection. Because I'm looking for the top of the head compared to the lower part of the head. Okay. And then on the top, I'm going to give a little bit red into it, a little bit brighter color. Now that's good. Now also use this color for the showing the thickness of this. You can use your brush different way for different purpose. Like over here, use just the side of the brush. Like that, that's good. And then inside over here, there will be darker color, which is I'm gonna add later. Do it step by step. Bigger shape, like say compared to the top and the lower part of this. And now I'm going to move this a little bit softer. Like that, that's good. You know how much water that you need in your brush. So sometimes I always wet the brush first and then use the two fingers to remove the unnecessary water. So I'm gonna have this a little soft coming down here. I'll remove the excess water. I'm gonna have it coming down. That's good. Using lifting off to form the structure of the head. Okay, on the edge down over here, I have a little bit darker. I'm just going to have it coming up like this. I don't want to touch the wet color on the top. That's good. And the edge over here, I'm going to reform it. Make that a little bit darker. Good. Like that. That's the head. Now what I want to do, ready to come into the face. Now take a look. What color is it? And almost like a little green color for the edge over here. And now I'm gonna looking at almost like this color. And come back with a little bit more those green color over here. Keep looking for comparing. Now I'm going looking for this space for the eye. Now come to the cheek, has a little bit more warmer, has a little bit more red. Now I want to change that to the number 12 round brush. I'm going to take a little red color here. Now continue. Looking for where's the space. Just looking for that area, the shape. Don't even think about it's a nose. You know where is it, and then you need to pay attention to the color and the value. I'm going to soften that. Coming down over here. Now I'm going to get a little bit more, just the red for the nose over here. Okay. That creates the structure, the form, the structure of the nose. That's good. Now coming around, use the same color and coming over here. Let's see. If this is the eye area, the lower eyelid, and this side would not be in the correct space. It should be a little bit lower, slightly a little bit lower. And or this one slightly a little bit higher. So I'm gonna change that a little bit later. Like that. It's good. Keep a little soft. Make the edge a little bit softer. Now I'm looking for the side of the face. Just take the red color, coming over here. Structure is important. This is the biggest relationship. It's the structure and the corner of the mouth. Looking for what's the color, how's the transition. And the corner of the mouth on this side. Earlier I said you need to be able to overlook the things that you're not ready to look at, or the things that you're not supposed to be taking care of at that step. Like the mouth, I don't see the mouth, I see the shape around the mouth and also maybe underneath the mouth. That's very important to see how those color looks. Okay. Now continue looking at the bottom over here. First, I'm gonna put this a little bit warm color first, and I will have a little bit gray color, a little bit more blue color underneath. I'm gonna here is expand this shape also, expand a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna also set the color for the ear. This the color for the ear right over here. It would be a little bit too dark for this color, but it's okay. I remove it. And coming on this side, in the shadow side, so I have a little blue color. So I take this color and put it in here. That's the space for the ear. I'm gonna soften that a little bit. Make that a little bit lighter. That's good. Okay. Now I'm gonna let this dry before I come back. But at this time, I'm gonna soften the edge over here. Just use the water to blend it. Also on this side, use the water. A soft brush and the water is what you need. Now on the bottom over here, have little blue colors. Mix a little red a little bit more blue colors. So it will be set it right in here. That's good. So create a wet, a nice soft transition. And I'll come back after this drive. And now I'm going to leave my attention to other part of the painting. I mix this very dark purple colors. And here you go. I'm gonna come in here. Now I come to the background. One details is more important than the others. It need to be come together to create a nice suggestions. Like over here, now I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna make this outside a little bit darker. And you see that? You can see the contrast now. So there's no panic. You don't need to panic at all at the beginning. So this technique is called overlay wash. Overlay wash almost like everywhere. Anytime that you just wash on top of the dry layer. Okay. Now I'm gonna take a little more yellow color and I have this color blend in into the background like this. That's fine. And now I'm gonna come to the other side. A little bit yellow, a little bit pleasant blue. Also gonna put it right over here if I need to. If I don't want it, you don't have to do it. You only need to do what need to be popped a little more. And that depends on how much contrast between the two colors. If you want that pop a lot, in that case, the outside color can be even darker than this. And take a look over here. Now the hat has a little bit more finished look, detail. That's good. And then I'm gonna come to the sideburn. Just add a little yellow color into this that I can find the brown color, maybe a little bit more blue, like this, a little bit darker. I'm gonna put a little color over here. The deeper color can come later. That looks good. All the big structures established before you go into this step. Let's see, I'm going to put the suggestions for the eyebrows on this side. Have a little bit gray color. And then the little eyebrows on over here, it will be right here. It looks like I need to do quite a bit of adjustment from here. So this should be a little bit lower. Soften it a little bit for now. Okay. And now I'm gonna continue give it a little bit more indication before I do the adjustment. And this eye would be about here. That's the corner of the eye. And then look at give a little suggestion for the eyelid. Now I'm looking on this side. The eye would be here. That should be a little bit closer. You don't have to use this calligraphy brush. You can use other traditional watercolor brush. Let's see. So this location for the eye on this side. Looking at the relationship, the angular measurements is about right. And iris, it will be sitting in here. And on this side, the iris sitting here. Okay, that's good. It's not too bad. And now coming down to the nose. The nose is right in the middle between the eyebrows and the chin. And take a look. The edge of the nose over here is about right here. And this side, the edge of the nose is right in here. That's perfect. And the nostril would be in this location. And this nostril is sitting over here. Like that. Soften that a little bit. Or you can say erase that. And now I'm looking for the mouth. I'm going to just set a little light color for now. And the upper lip, the corner of the mouth is about in here. So the upper lip is about in this location. Look at that. Look at two corners of the mouth. And this about in this angle compared to the nose. That's right. Probably coming down a little bit more. Right here. Now the lower lip of the mouth. And it's about here. Over here. Like that. A little bit softer coming in here. That's good. Now I come to the other side. So just the eyebrows is about here. A little bit higher. Have a little bit warm. Coming like this. That's good. Now I'm looking at the eye on this side. So pick a little warm color first. Not ready to the final detail. Okay, over here coming. There's the eyelid. That's good. That's the eyelid here, the corner of the eye. And I use this red color too, coming to the lower eyelid. Okay, now I'm going to set a little color inside the iris, which is have a little bit more like a blue color, maybe even a little bit yellow, like this color. Now take a look on this eye first. And looking for the highlight, I can lift the highlight. Okay. That. And also looking at this side. And highlight at this corner. Okay, that's good. That's the first one. And also with the same color here, give a little eyelashes. You don't have to make it very dark for the eyelashes at the beginning. You can add some deeper color a little bit later. Okay, now we're coming down to the nostril. And take a look. Start from a little lighter color first. And take this color. That's good. And take a look on this side. Get a little bit red color. Okay. To make the side, showing the side of the nose, we need to paint the outside over here. Now that's how to show, because the contrast. Like that. And then put a little darker color for the pupil. That looks good. And then I come to this side first. And this side look a little bit darker. Okay. I'm gonna get a little bit darker color. And come in here. I want to take a look at the lower eyelid right over here. And the same red color inside over here. Now use the water to bring in the color. Make it a little softer and softer. And I'm going to soften this area. I'm going to have this a little softer coming up. That's good. And also softly coming up here. On the cheek over here, I'm going to make a little bit bright red color. Okay. A little bit coming down. So this portrait painting is finished.